Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, know nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate you for tuning in live, listening to replay. You are listening to Trust Christian. You're going to be also listening to Dr. Bay today. Always appreciate you for tuning in live. If it's new, definitely appreciate you. And if you've listened to many episodes with Dr. Bay or just listen a bunch with Trust Christian, always appreciate you. So this is definitely episode 7, Trustee Training Spiritual Saturdays with Dr. Bay. And we definitely wanted to come with a word of wisdom today for trustees that are enrolling in and coming through and emailing. We definitely want to continuously promote that. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. You can feel free to reach out. We definitely have been working with families and actually helping them understand what people call their purpose or their reason for being on the planet right now. And not only helping them understand their reason for being, but helping them create communication systems and many different things that are centered around their reason for being. So, definitely excited about that. Look forward to more families continuously coming through. Once again, that email is Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, the email is Christian at trustchristian.com. And so, one of the concepts, just based off of the feedback that we got from this past week and some of the families, we wanted to talk about something with Dr. Bay today because he can speak on it very clearly. And so this is for everybody that has a family that is listening that wants to understand the powers that they have inside of them right now. Not, oh, we got to go through personal development courses. Let's hear it. So Dr. Bay, how you doing today?
I'm doing great and getting greater just like you.
Always appreciate you for coming through, Dr. Bay. It's always a pleasure. Appreciate New York for tuning in live, listening to replay. We got some people listening in from New York, tuning in live, listening to replay. So, hey, the individual listening live from New York, is if your name is Arthur, could you really type your birth name into the chat? I always see you type into the chat. Feel free to type into the chat your name, and we'll just go ahead and start out with Dr. Bay. Just at least sharing with you the powers that you have. We've always seen you reach out if it's Arthur, so we definitely would love for you to, join into the conversation today because the conversation that we're talking about is unity. And so, Dr. Bay, we definitely were having this conversation, and let's continue this conversation. We're on the power of unity. The power of unity, let's
We
talk
must
about it.
feel, well, first of all, it's governed by the second law, and and everything that works is involving two or more things coming together and working in harmony. And the challenge with that is that the harmony can be working together for them, but working against someone else. So I'd like to be have it working in righteous harmony, where everybody that's involved is benefiting. But if we understand that the key to this world is unity, it is what you unite with that causes you to feel, think, and act the way you do. In other words, most of the people that are sick are sick because they united with something that was against them, whether they know what it was or didn't know what it was. Uh, most people that are having challenges may not realize that it could be coming from a previous life and what you did in that life that causes you to have a karmatic debt in this life. And what that karmatic debt is, many times, uh, what is really working for us, we may feel like it's working against us. I never will forget there was a minister that came to one of my training classes. As a matter of fact, he literally paid me $260 an hour, and he never came and stayed 1 hour for some training. And one day, I had a fairly large training room, and I didn't hear anybody else walk in because I was busy training him in understanding his reason for being and his pathway to accomplish it and his challenges that he had in life. And when I finished with it, a lady from the back that I'd never seen before says, "That's why he's that way?" And I turned around and said, who are you? He said, "Oh, that's my wife. I brought her up there." And I took her through and did hers. I never saw two people so compatible. She owed 3 cardiac deaths. He owed 3 cardiac deaths. She had the energy to solve his and to hate him in completing his, and he had the energy to. And they owed two. They had 2 challenges, and both of them bridged each other's challenges. And so when I finished explaining it to him, his wife says to me, "That is why we're having such challenges, is because we're helping each other pay our debts and overcome our challenges." I said, "Sure. When you owe a debt, then that means you have to pay something back." She said, "Wow." Reached her hand in her purse and pulled out a set of keys. And she said, "I was bringing these keys. This is a key to the condominium. As I was bringing him, I got a U-Haul packed outside with all my stuff in it." And so they left, and he didn't call or come back anymore. And I was in a grocery store, one that I was in the other day, in Chicago, and a young lady runs up and grabs me and hugs me and all, and I didn't know who it was. And she picked it up. She says, "You don't know who I am, do you?" I said, "No, I do not." But I didn't mind because she was fine. She told me whose wife she was. And I said, "Wow, when have you seen him? How y'all?" She said, "You couldn't find 2 happier people. Every time he gets on my nerve, I get on his nerve." We started laughing and saying, "Okay, you helping me pay that debt now." We got to realize that there are many reasons for unity. And spiritually speaking, everybody that gets on your nerve, there's a reason being for it. And it is to enable you to overcome some challenge you have in your life. Most people, "I don't want to be bothered with them. I don't want to be bothered." It could be family members, it could be friends, it could be associates, it could be in organization but you got to understand that there's a reason for everything. And many of us never overcome the blockages because we run away from the cause and is getting the undesired effect. There's only one way to solve any problem, and that is find out what caused it, so you can stop doing what caused it.
That's very true. So, Dr. Bay, we actually have a gentleman or someone that typed into the chat. His name's Arthur, Arthur. He said that was his birth name.
Okay. Uh, well, he's one of those leaders that have made the difference in the world. People whose first vowel is an A is why the world's in the shape it's in, whether it's because of people like Al Capone or Adolf Hitler or Alexander the Great or Malcolm X or Mahatma Gandhi or Hannibal or Augustus Caesar or Napoleon Bonaparte or Abraham Lincoln or Marcus Garvey or Marcus Aurelius or Shaka, and I could just go on and on and on. So they've never been a good loser at nothing. And people with that energy want things done a certain way, the right way, or at least that's what they call their way. And so because they have such a dominant power and And many times it can be a challenge for other people that have the same energy to even work with them. And that's one of the areas of unity that they need to know a whole area of things and people they can unite with. Now, he also has a bunch of big ideas. He has the same energy that Oprah Winfrey, Ross Perot, Steve Forbes, Bill Gates, all those billionaires have. And if you understand that he has the the natural ability to create wealth and power in a special way, it needs to be pretty much his way. But things with him is creating in a stronger and larger way than the average person. There's one challenge area that really is a blessing that most people that have it consider it a challenge. He has a very sensitive side that he protects. Matter of fact, he don't let other people even know he has it. And that side needs recognition, so people need to brag on him and tell him how great he is and that he is.
Well, I'm happy to hear, Dr. Beta. We've encountered another powerful righteous being. We would love to hear from you. You can reach out to the Vault Christian at trustchristian.com. And when Dr. Beta talks about, not just getting the information for yourself, but getting the information for your family, getting the information so you can implement the information for your life, when it comes to your business or when it comes to your personal life, knowing your reason for being is great. So why would you not? Or what if you could learn a system that actually will help you learn not only about yourself but to learn about others and how to engage with them and things of that nature. So that's what we do with Dr. Bay is really help people, learn their reason for being and then learn how to work with the other people around them. So when families enroll in the trustee training, that's one of the top priorities and one of the first things we go over. And Dr. Bay is highlighting that he does that as well with the families that he's engaged with throughout the years and his trainings and his seminars. So, Dr. Bay, we want to go back to this power of unity. We definitely don't want to overlook it and really want to stay on it. So when we talk about the power of unity, talk about why, if there is supposed, what is this thought that why do we need to have two? Yeah, no, actually, I want you to comment on how when we add two together, it multiplies the energy instead of just adding one plus one equals two, or two is
Well,
just that.
let me ask the question.
Okay.
You need like energy to multiply. Can you multiply feet times inches or miles times foot, inches or squares or any of those energies? You got to get them into the same vibration. You got to have inches to multiply times inches. And anytime you have the like energy, it multiplies, it strengthens, and causes things to work much better in your life. But most people don't realize the powers involved in like energies. And many times people with like energies, both people want to be the boss, don't work well. You got to realize that you are to be the boss over different things. And that there's no one thing in the universe. Everything is a multiple of energy. You are multiple energy. You got a heart that does one thing, a kidney that does another thing, a liver that does another thing, spleen that does another thing, bones, and on it goes. A car, this phone, everything is a system of energy. There's no one thing doing anything in the universe. And yet everything is made up of the energy of one.
Okay. I see where you're coming from when you say that. So the energies that are challenging, you're still supposed to unite with them.
Absolutely. How can you overcome a challenge if you don't unite with it?
Hmm.
But in a righteous way.
Well, it's interesting that you said that like energies can actually pose as a challenge to each other because they have to learn how to work together.
Absolutely.
And you're saying that just because they have like energy, so when people say, "Oh, I want to work with like-minded people," it doesn't necessarily translate into guaranteed success.
Yeah, unless they realize each other's energy and how to work with it
Right.
and use this the same energy they have. Let me ask you a question. If you want to be the boss, how well do you get along with other people trying to boss you around that want to be the boss?
Uh, I think a lot of people that are really great leaders, they understand that there's just a generic term called a leader. And when you're on a team, there's multiple leaders. Everybody has a role and responsibility. So I think really good leaders are really good at having great leaders around him, because you're only as good as your team, and for that reason, you have to have other great leaders. Wouldn't think that you would have. Uh,
I totally agree with that.
okay,
And
okay,
that means you should not let it get on your nerve. You should learn how to stick with it and work with it in a righteous way every day.
right. Talk about persistence when it comes to uniting with things, Dr. Bay, and what's persistence to you? What is the sheer determination to unite with something, and as opposed to just letting it come to you?
Well, if you understand that everything operates because of persistency, the law of habit that deals with the habitual aspects, we got to realize that most things that is going on with you and in you and around you and about you is persistently doing so. Your heart is persistently beating. You're persistently breathing. And I could go on and on and on. Nothing works without it having a persistent area that causes it to work in the way that it is divinely designed. And when you get out of the way that it is divinely designed, it causes conflict for you and others too.
Okay. This is a good conversation we're having here, Dr. Bay. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in live, listening to replay. Feel free to type into the chat where you're listening live from. Definitely appreciate Arthur for tuning in live, and giving us his name so we can just, share with him, some of the skills that Dr. Bay has to help individuals. And, you can feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. We got Mississippi, someone for tuning in from Mississippi, Dr. Bay tuning in live, listening to replay. So definitely appreciate Mississippi. You got any good stories about Mississippi, Dr. Bay?
State of Mississippi?
Yes, sir.
Well, I've been there quite a few times,
Any good experiences you'd like to
but
share with us that deals with unity?
well, not necessarily. I know that I've never spent any real large amount of time there, only going through or coming there to speak to a group. Uh, but I've certainly been there, and Mississippi was a challenge for us as a people, a major challenge for us as a people, and during and after slavery, namely.
Okay, you want to elaborate on that? How it's been a challenge for African indigenous descent people?
Well, it's back to the things that I say about the Democratic Party. It, you know, it was a solid Democratic state, and back then, and the Democrats were formed for the purpose of doing one major thing, and that's keeping us slaves. And of course, we've joined everything that is anti us and against everything that's pro us. And Mississippi was a major Democratic state. But they were basically a bunch of them, whether it was Georgia, or Alabama, Mississippi, and Texas. Just like we celebrate the uh, whatever it was about Texas, and I don't understand why, because Texas was the last state to do what the other states had already done. But that's another story too.
Hmm.
We got to realize that I that our challenges in life comes from what we've united with, as well as our successes in life come from what we've united with. Are you uniting with people, places, and things that are good for you and that causes the growth that you finally designed to have and do? Or are you uniting with things that are bad for you that have caused you and others too to go through the things that we are going through?
And isn't that true? So, if they would like to get in contact with you, they can feel free to reach out. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. And we can definitely let them know about how to make their dreams come true and a training system with Dr. Bay and others too. So feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. A lot of people, they wonder, how do I get that knowledge? Well, here's the opportunity, especially for, specific groups of people that they have families and they know that they come from a specific place and they know things don't feel right, but they also know that there's answers. And so there are answers to your questions. And unity, how do you get the answer if you don't unite with the answer? How do you get closer to the answer if you don't unite with part of the answer? Part of the answer is people that can give you the answers or help you get part of the solution. Dr. Bay, our training, what we do when we work with families, that's what we do. We look forward to hearing from you all. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com.